Coming up next on Access Framingham TV is Framingham Fan to Fan, where we discuss all things sports in Framingham. Today we're going to talk women's lacrosse with guests from the Framingham State Women's Lacrosse team. Stay tuned. This is going to be fast-paced and a lot of fun. This is Framingham Fan to Fan on Access Framingham TV. Hi, I'm Dave Hornfischer, a Framingham sports fan, and I'm pleased to host this interview show whose purpose is to highlight those who are involved in Framingham sports at all levels. We hope through this show to increase awareness and ideally fan support of these fun sporting events, and also to help us use sports to achieve our station's goal of building community. Today I'm pleased to welcome 4 players from the Framingham State Women's Lacrosse team. And they're Kimmy Foley, Shae Riley, Grace Gamache, and Casey Bradley. Women, welcome. It's great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming all the way down.
Thank you.
All the way down from the hill, right?
Yeah.
So you guys are having a great season, I understand. But let's backtrack about a number of years. We won't say how many. And why don't you each talk a little bit about sort of how you got into lacrosse, growing up with it? Did you start playing when you were 4 years old, or?
I grew up in Fairhaven, Mass, and the lacrosse program wasn't at its best, I would say, when I was younger. So the athletic director from the high school came down to our middle school and was like, if any of you girls are willing to come jump up to the high school level, like, feel free to join the JV team. So I started in 6th grade on the JV team at Fairhaven High School, and then I just played with them through the 7 years, and then came here, and now I'm living the dream.
Okay, that's great. Grace?
So I'm from Dartmouth, Mass, and growing up, they always had a boys' youth program. And
For
then
lacrosse?
For lacrosse. And then when I was in 3rd grade, my parents actually started the girls' youth program. So I started in 3rd grade and been playing ever since, and then went up to high school, and now I'm here.
So I started actually in college. I remember I met this girl.
You started in college?
Yeah. I know, seriously, best decision of my life, definitely.
And you're only a sophomore?
I'm a senior.
Oh, you're a senior?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah.
I got that mixed. I got you twisted from before.
So I remember this one girl was like, oh, I'm going to try out for lacrosse. Like, and I was like, really? Like, cool. Like, I kind of wanted to, like, whatever. Because I played, in high school, I played soccer and basketball.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, maybe I can, like, incorporate it, you know, like, running. So I went and tried out, and the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
Canton, Mass. I was lucky enough that we already had a youth program, so I started in 3rd grade, and I played all the way up. I had the same youth coach from 3rd grade to 8th grade. Then she actually was the high school coach as well when I started in high school, so she was my coach for so many years, and then I came here.
And so you all played in high school. 3 of you played in high school.
Yep.
And you probably were recruited in some ways by the Framingham State lacrosse coach?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So they really go out and try and make a winning team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so how did tell me about how that happened and why you happened to choose here? Did you have other choices too?
There were definitely other choices, but my mother and my grandmother both came to Framingham State, so it was definitely on the top of my list when I applied
But I bet
here.
your grandmother didn't play lacrosse.
She came here long ago when it was only like a teacher school.
A women's school, probably.
Yep.
Yeah. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And my coach actually came to the game where I played Grace in high school because he was recruiting us both at the same time. So speaking to us both really like helped, knowing that if I was coming here, she wasn't too far down the road. So
Excuse me. Okay, so you
So
got recruited the same day she did, yeah.
Yeah, so I actually met our coach. I played for a club team, like a travel team for lacrosse out of Rhode Island, and I was at a tournament, and that's where he saw me first play. So then he got in contact with me after that, and then he came to the game I played Shae at. So yeah, I think it was like my sophomore or junior year of high school.
And you just came to Framingham because you wanted to go.
Yeah, I was like, love it. Love the campus. It's small, but I love that, you know. I mean, the hills are pretty bad, but everything else, you know.
Well, it's great for athletes.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Get a little
You run the
workout.
hills every day.
Yeah.
He actually came to one of my games. I was a junior in high school. I didn't even know he was there. My mom got an email from him and said that he saw me play, and I was totally like caught off guard because I'd never even thought about playing lacrosse in college. So it was cool. And I'm an education major too, so Framingham was always on my list, so lacrosse was just really a bonus because it just worked out that way,
That's
so
great.
which is awesome.
Did you all play other sports in high school too?
I played volleyball in high school and lacrosse.
I played field hockey and then basketball for 2 years.
Basketball and soccer.
Soccer and
Okay.
lacrosse.
But I suspect there's a number of people out here in Framingham TV land who haven't seen a lacrosse match. I ran into one on television yesterday afternoon. It was a college match, and I took a short video of it. And I think we'll show some of that up as this is as we're talking here. But yeah, here it is. Here's the match. This is a men's match, but I gather it's a little different than the women's game, but like that check, for example. But tell me what's going on here a little bit.
So they pretty much have the ball at X, what they call it. It's like behind the net, and that's usually where a lot of the feeds come from. So as you can see, he just fed it up top, and feeding up top is easier to get a goal from. So.
And they throw the ball rather hard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And does the goalie have a big stick of something?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a rounder stick at the top. But
Yeah. It's a net stick, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so let's just talk a little bit about the equipment. So you wear they were wearing big helmets, but the women don't. You told me.
The only people that wear a helmet on the girls' team is the goalies, obviously, and then we just wear little goggles that cover our eyes and our stick, and that's all we need.
You ever get hit in the head? I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
gotta hurt.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they are now, like, more and more as concussions are becoming such a big thing. There are like women's style helmets, and they're much smaller than a guy's helmet, but they do cover the top of your head and they come down to here, so that if you do get checked in the head,
Right.
it's very less likely of you getting a
and
concussion.
the ball gets thrown almost like a baseball. I mean, it's as hard as a baseball. Right?
Yeah, really
Yeah.
hard, bouncy.
And, very bouncy. Although you play mostly on grass, or do you play on? You have a turf field?
Yep,
Yes.
we do.
Yeah,
Mostly
okay.
turf.
Oh,
the only
okay.
time we ever play on grass is like when we went on spring break in South Carolina. We play on grass fields there.
Okay. This is a very fast-paced game. I would think that let's see, what positions do you all play?
Attack.
Those are called forwards.
Right.
So you have 11 players plus a goalie on a team.
Yes.
And there's how many on the? Are there like forwards in the center, or how's the team structured?
Our coach sets it up very like
Strategically.
exactly. So speed oriented people are more like midfield, and then we have the attacks and the defenders.
So you have 3 levels of team. Then you've got attacks, midfielders, and the midfielders kind of go back and forth.
right.
And the attackers rarely go back to the other side of the goal, other side of the field,
Yeah.
unless there's something awful happening. Or something. And so what positions do you both play? Or you-
I play attack.
I play midfield.
Okay, midfield.
Defense.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the role of an attacker then here.
So like you said, it's like super fast paced, and we just try to keep the ball moving because it keeps the defense on their toes. So if you keep the ball moving, like you'll get opportunities to score.
By moving, passing rather than running
passing.
with it.
Yeah, I mean we run with it, but definitely helps to.
And I
just
noticed
keep
lots of
passing
time
it.
in one of the videos that I had, or when the game I watched, I know one time the team was just passing the ball all around in a circle, kind of looking like for an opportunity to throw it into the
Yeah.
middle, and when you throw it in the middle, it's strange. Good things can happen.
Yeah.
Is there one person that's kind of does the attacker kind of play more in the middle? Or do you have? I mean, in hockey, they try and center the puck to the middle and.
Yeah,
whack
so
it
we have a
in.
lot of like cutters.
Okay,
we'll
so
have
it's
like
mostly cutting.
Yeah, a lot of cutting, like setting picks for each other and stuff, and then rolling off of that.
So the picks could probably get a little violent where you hit somebody. And,
Yeah.
or
If you don't see it coming.
inadvertently.
Yeah.
quote,
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So as a midfielder, your role is a little different then, right?
Yeah, I'm like everywhere pretty much. So
Okay.
I'm mostly like I try to stay like at the top of like each half, so I don't have to do like that much running, because like if I go all the way like from
You
one
gotta
end
get
to the
back.
next, it's very tiring. So I go in for most defensive possessions, and I think every offensive position. Yeah, so I mean, you definitely have to like pace yourself because it is tiring, but it's fun like doing both, because like I hate watching, like I want to like be in the action, so like I definitely like midfields, like even though it's a lot of running, it's worth it, definitely. So.
And then on defense,
So obviously we don't want them to score, but
your goal is to protect the goalie.
yes, of
Yeah.
course. But it's interesting. I never played defense until my freshman year. Last year, he changed me from an attacker to a defender. and I love it. Something's always going on. You have to be focused on the ball and your girl too. So we're constantly like moving our head back and forth, seeing two, just to make sure you don't get a cutter in front of you and she can score, obviously. But yeah, we have to protect Indigo for sure, who's our goalie.
So was it, as a defender, do you sort of guard one person, or is it a zone more?
Yeah, so we do like man, so he has us match with one girl, and we basically just make sure that we're always we play high pressure defense. So if you're on ball, you're up on her. You can make contact in girls lacrosse, but I can't really like push people. But I can I usually put my hands on her hip and like kind of guide her. If we want to double, like I guide her to my teammate. But we definitely can't no hits or anything. We'll get called for it.
So you guys are off to a good start. You told me this year your record is
10-1.
10-1. What happened with the 1? I mean,
Springfield.
Yeah, Springfield.
okay.
Yeah.
Is Springfield always good?
Yeah, very
That's a
good.
non-conference game for you
Yes.
guys,
Right.
right? So you play in the MASCAC, and how big of a schedule do you play?
17 games.
17.
Okay, so mostly equally split home and away.
Yes.
Yep.
And,
Typically 2 a week.
Yeah, 2
Typically,
games
yeah.
a week.
And you mentioned a spring trip. When was that? Where did you go?
The week of spring break, like for our school, we take a trip outside of Massachusetts to warmer weather, just so we're not
Right.
playing in the snow. And this year we went to Hilton Head, South Carolina.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Wow. And were there a lot of teams there in this tournament, or was it?
There was 7, I
There's
think.
there's a lot of teams, but we only played 3 games.
Okay. And did you win?
Yep.
Well, yeah, obviously, yeah, because you
Yeah.
didn't play Springfield.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So who did you play there? Do you play mostly Division III teams?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we played.
And they don't have to be like from that area. Like
Yeah.
it's a big place for other teams to travel to as well.
So it's sort of a big tournament, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so did you win a prize or an award, championship or something?
No.
You didn't get a gold medal or anything like that? No?
Not even any shirt.
So let's just talk a little bit about some of the games you've had this year. I gather you were telling me beforehand that you had a big win this weekend.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
we did.
And that was against who?
Bridgewater.
Bridgewater, okay. Are they good normally, or is that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
This
Okay,
was the
so-
first
so-
time in program history that we beat them. right?
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, okay.
So it was a big one.
Conference
Yeah.
games.
Program history here is how many years?
I don't know, at least.
2011.
Yeah, 2011.
I had a chance to meet the men's basketball team from 50 years ago here. So.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, they were the first men's team when the school was
That's awesome.
Wow.
first
So
went co-ed.
cool.
But
Wow.
yeah, so okay. So you're building up a nice tradition here. So
Yeah.
and so your game against Bridgewater, you were telling me a little bit about that, and I understand that was sort of decided right near the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to walk me through the last minute, where you can, or last some point where you can each talk about what some of you did.
Go ahead.
And I have to make notice here of Shae's knee here, who was
Yes.
which is a EMS.
ACL. Tore my
ACL.
ACL the first week of the season, so I haven't been able to play in a game, unfortunately, but I still go to every practice and every game so I can cheer them all on.
And you're a junior, so you can play next
so
year.
thankfully I still have my senior year ahead of me.
And now, as we were saying before, they're all trying to win every game for you, right?
Yeah.
Is there anybody else
course.
that's injured like you that's had the?
Thankfully, no, I'm the
Not
only
yet,
one.
anyway, so far,
Yeah.
anyway.
Right.
So anyway, so you weren't a part of
I
of
was
that.
not.
Part of that, but you were standing on the side yelling your lungs out. and which is
Exactly.
good. Okay, and so why don't you walk through? Did the play start in the defensive zone or at midfield, or how did it start?
Started the cold
So-
goal.
Nicole's goal, which
Yeah.
was your feet.
So the whole game was back and forth, like all game. We were down 3 and then we were up 3 and we were tied a lot of times.
Oh, what an exciting
It
game.
was really
Yeah.
exciting.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. So they tied the game up with a minute 45 left to go 14-14, and then we won the draw. And
Yeah, tell me about the draw. When I was watching this, it looks like two players have their head down or something, or
yeah, so they have. I mean, you can take the draw.
and so who takes the draw? Does it? Do you have
So it's usually, actually it doesn't really matter because Mal takes it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you could be like any
Yeah,
position
okay.
really. It's just kind of like strategical,
Like hockey,
how
yeah,
you do
sort
it.
of,
Yeah.
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 So I take the draw sometimes, but me and Grace are like around the circle because there's only like 3 girls allowed like in one section of the field, and then once the ball gets picked up, then people can like come in. So the draw like dictates the whole game. So winning the draw there was like amazing. But we don't get on like the turf like the boys do. We stand up.
Okay.
and they put the ball like between our sticks, and when the whistle's blown, like everyone, like both players just go up in the air, and then the ball goes flying, and we go grab it.
And so there's some art to winning it because you try to hit it back toward your team, or
usually
okay.
you can win it to like yourself, or you can win it to
so on this big moment with a minute 45 to go, you win the Rams win the draw, and it goes back to somebody.
So our teammate Nicole, she won the draw. Well, she pushed it to me, and I won the draw, and then we came down, and we have a shot clock, so I was trying to kill some time, and then we were running a play, and I saw that there was like a bunch of people were cutting, and kind of time started winding down, so started getting a little nervous, and then our teammate Nicole cut with 36 seconds left, and I fed it to her for the game winner.
And she threw it in.
Yeah.
And when you throw it, is it about the speed of a baseball being thrown? When
Nicole
has
very
the hardest shot on
yeah.
the team.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the goalie missed it. So the goalie dove, and the ball went by him, and it went on the net. But there still was time on the clock.
Yes.
26 seconds. And so so is that enough time to score a goal?
Oh,
Plenty of time.
Plenty.
So there's another face-off then, or a draw as you call it.
Went back to the draw.
Okay, so there's a draw, and they win it?
We won it.
You won it. Oh,
Yes.
again. All right.
Yep. And then our coach called a timeout, and so he comes over. We all like crowd in. He's like, okay, so if they put, he's like, Kimmy takes the ball, so I had the ball, and he said if they put 3 girls on you and like swarm you, then just throw it down the field to our captain Mal, and who was like on the defensive end, like our defensive end, and then we throw it down to her, and then he was like, then just run, pretty much, like just waste the clock and run. So that happened, went on the field, I took the ball, there were 3 girls around me, and I pretended like I was gonna run so that they would, I don't know, like come closer to me so then I could just dish it off to Mal, and it worked, and then we won. It was awesome.
You won, and when you win, you all raise your sticks.
Oh yeah.
And the sticks have like a little net on them, right? That's made out of, what's it made out of? I'm leading up to a question here.
Leather and just
It is made out of leather.
rope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I understand lacrosse is an old Native American game, right?
Yes.
That goes way back to the beginning
way
of
back.
time, right? Do you all have to study on the history of the sport in any way? Do you have any insights on it? No, you don't have any.
If Indigo was here, she would know every question.
She would
for
know
you.
some of that. Yeah. But I can imagine it must have been. Must have been a pretty wild game.
It was
crazy.
They didn't play on horses, did they? I don't think so. So what kind of shoes do you have to wear when you're playing? Just are these like cleats or?
Yeah.
Cleats or turf shoes.
Oh, okay, probably
depending on
because
your
you're on
preference.
tape. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this sounds like it might be kind of fun to watch. So if I wanted to see a game, where would I have to go to do this?
So they live stream a lot of our games actually online. So if you go to our schedule, it says video during it. And you
But I don't want to watch it on TV.
Oh, then you just come down to
I
Maple
want to wait
Street
for the
Field.
weather to warm up a little bit, and your season's going to end about the 1st of May, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But do you play on the football field or the soccer field? Or
Maple
Street Field.
Maple Street Soccer Field?
Yep.
Yes.
And so that's fairly near my house. I can practically walk there, but I've lived here 30-some years, and I only found the place finally about 3 years ago. Okay, because I mean, now they put in that big sign, right, that says Women's Lacrosse today with flashing lights around it.
Oh, on the parking lot.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
Oh yeah. Right.
Sometimes they do on the. It says like "Welcome to Maple Street Field." It'll say like today, Women's Lacrosse.
Yeah.
at 12 o'clock,
Really?
something like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
the women's softball players didn't know about that.
Yep.
That's interesting. Okay, so so the games are on what day of the week? What day do you play?
Typically
Usually-
Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Yep.
Wednesdays and Saturdays when you. So you don't use. So you're on on a different field than the softball team. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So I could presumably go up there on a Saturday and
Watch
see 2
both.
softball
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
Right next door.
And you got, but you guys don't play double headers, right?
No.
Way too much running.
Okay. And so the game starts at what time on the Saturdays?
Usually 12.
12.
Usually at noon. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
you're pretty. Yeah. Okay. So I could make a full afternoon up there, and
Oh, yeah.
I could bring
you
along about 6 hot dogs. And,
Yep.
Oh yes.
do they have a refreshments down there?
No.
No, so I have to bring
They
my own hot
don't,
dogs. Yeah. Okay. But the tickets are expensive, right?
No tickets.
Free.
Are there bleachers?
Yes.
there
Okay.
are.
There
All
are
right.
bleachers.
And good seats are hard to find? Or?
Hey, you got to come early.
Yeah. We'll have to be.
Do you get a lot of support from the university,
Yeah.
from other students?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
do.
a lot of other sports teams.
Yeah, a lot of
teams,
sports
women
Seems
cheers
you all
on.
have sort of a community. You go to all their games.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I'm amazed that more people in Framingham, including myself, don't get to do these things. But since I've been doing this show, I've been finding I'm enjoying these local sporting events a lot more than I do the national ones that I spend $50 for or something. And that's because I get the cheap seats. But, so the academic dean always likes me to talk to you all about your academic experience at the university. Why don't you all tell me a little bit about what your major is and what you might be doing after Framingham State? I know a couple of you are only sophomores, so, but
I am a finance major with a accounting minor, and hopefully after Framingham, I can become a financial advisor. So just tell people how to spend their money.
have you had a chance to do an internship? Or?
I have not. That's like the biggest thing is trying to find one this summer, just so I can stay on track. Because
So-
it's tough having one like during the season, even like during the fall, just because we do have fall ball and stuff like that. So kind of have to do it when you have time.
So financial advisor, you mean in the investment business? Or?
Yes.
Okay, so cool. Well, there's a big need for that these
Exactly.
days, especially with all of these baby boomers now getting into retirement.
Retiring,
Yeah,
yep.
right. And what about you?
So I'm majoring in elementary education with a coordinate in sociology. So after I graduate, I want to be like a second or third grade teacher.
Oh, what fun.
Yeah.
And teach them all lacrosse at a young
Yeah,
age,
of course.
right?
Maybe coaching too.
Coach, a little bit of coaching, yeah.
That'd be
Uh-huh.
ideal.
Yeah, I suspect that there's a growing interest in women's
Yeah.
lacrosse, I would bet, across
It's definitely growing.
Definitely.
Yeah, and women's sport. Title IX has just done such wonders for women's sports in general. I mean, for the last,
Yeah.
I mean, that's nothing new at this point, but it sure changed things from back in the day when yours truly was in school.
Yeah.
And my wife was playing basketball under very different conditions. Kimmy?
So I'm a psychology major with a sociology minor, and I have no clue. I'm a senior, and I have no clue what I want to do. Like, not one clue.
No internships?
Well, I'm interning right now at the Accept School in Natick. It's a school for kids with special needs and behavioral issues, but that's not really like what I want to do at all. But it's just like for a class, so I have to. It's good because I'm killing two birds with one stone. So I'm taking it for a class credit, and I'm getting experience that I can put on my resume in like a professional setting, which is like great. But I just like don't want to do that.
Would you think about graduate school? Or?
Oh yeah, definitely, 100% graduate school. But I don't know if I want to stick with psychology or I'm really interested in nutrition, so I might want to, look more into that field. But that's a lot of like.
Do a dual major, you can do that?
Yeah, I mean, I can try, so I don't know. I guess we'll see.
In case?
And I'm also an elementary education major. So I hope to be like a 4th or 5th grade teacher one day. So
That's sort of the long tradition of Framingham State,
yeah,
right?
definitely. That's definitely what kind of took me here, I guess.
Yeah.
Attracted you there,
Yeah.
yeah. So are you all sports fans when you're not watching, when you're not playing lacrosse or studying or doing other
Absolutely.
things?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Bruins fans probably?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's a similar game in some ways. You've got sticks and nets and things they throw at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Baseball's a little more sedate,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you ever get a chance to go to the games or any of the? Have you ever been to a Patriots game? Or?
I've never been to a
I
Patriots
never
game.
knew Patriots game.
Yeah.
I've been to a couple Bruins
No.
games.
I've been to a couple Patriots games. They're awesome.
Yeah.
Red
So
Sox.
awesome.
Yeah,
The
Red
fan
Sox, a lot
base
of
of any
Red
Boston sport is
It was
just
fun.
so great.
That
like,
makes it fun.
Exactly. Exactly.
So do you watch lacrosse on TV now? Because it seems to be on there more increasingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watching like D1.
Yeah, it's
I watch a
really
lot
fun.
of D1.
Yeah.
The women's D1 teams
Is-
are unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fun to
so
watch.
like I try to watch.
It's sort of a
some
middle
that.
America kind of a sport, isn't it? Isn't that what or am I getting it mixed up with something else? Aren't the schools like in Baltimore?
Yeah,
And,
Maryland.
Duke,
Maryland's
isn't
very.
Duke
Maryland's
and,
huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
University of Maryland.
Syracuse always has a
Yeah.
good
Yeah,
tradition.
really
right?
good program.
Yeah.
And so is that so? When you watch something like that, do you kind of see what they're doing and try to learn something from it? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's sort of the idea
Yeah.
behind all that. And so you've lived in Framingham now, the seniors here, juniors, whatever, for several years. What do you like about being in Framingham? Since this is a Framingham station.
I just think it's so like localized to everything. Like I live off campus, but my house is still 10 minutes from everything, like campus, the mall, train station. You can do anything here. So that's why I really love it.
And you all came from sort of smaller towns.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Framingham
small.
So this is the city now, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm only a sophomore and I live on campus, but like I've never been, like I didn't want to go to college in the city, but the fact that it's a 30-minute drive to Boston is nice because we can go into the city for the day. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I live off campus, and just like Shae said, like I literally am driving distance like 10 minutes to Route 9, which has like so many things. It's crazy, which is awesome. And then like the mall in Natick is great. The train station as well is amazing. I don't know, it just like has a lot of things that like I like, and it's huge. Like I didn't realize how big Framingham was until I got here, and I'm like, wow, so big. Like I feel like there's like a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Same thing, really. Just like you said, like the Natick Mall too, and Route 9 is filled with things. And I'm off campus too, but I basically am on campus. I walk to class every day, so that's nice and convenient. But and especially the train station too, because I'm from Canton, so I have a commuter rail as well. So it's nice and convenient.
So just a couple more minutes on the team itself. You have 11 players on the field, but you were saying before you have a lot more players than that on the team.
We have 26 girls on the team, so he definitely uses it as a good way to sub people out. Like if we need fresh legs out there, that's the way you run into run down other teams, and that can make or break a game. Like if another team is tired, that's when you can spread out the score and really win.
So is there a mix of freshmen, sophomores, and juniors?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
And so do the freshmen get to play much? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ones-
We have a couple freshmen starting, so really playing
That's
a huge
great.
role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you get to do any of the recruiting at all now of people that you know from your schools, or people ask you about lacrosse at Framingham State? Or?
Yeah, I mean, if people, a lot of times he'll have recruits come up and like stay a night here. So we'll do some convincing there. Like there was one yesterday and she came to the game and we were like, so what do you think about Framingham now? Because we just beat like Bridgewater, who's amazing. So I think we convinced her.
There's no substitute for winning in sports.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Well, lacrosse is just such an interesting game. I think most people don't understand it as much as they should. Boston has a professional team, don't they?
Yeah.
Didn't they have one?
Yeah, Boston Storm.
The Boston Storm, yeah. And do they play at BU, or where? Do you know where they play?
Might be.
know,
I think
actually.
it might
They-
be
I think-
you.
Yeah, they play a couple, I think they play a couple places, like in Massachusetts. I know they played at like UMass Amherst and just kind of like all over the place. And then
That'd be great if we could get them to come out and play at at Bowditch Field sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so is there a women's professional league?
Yeah, there is. They just started one.
Oh, okay. That's the Storm are men.
No, the Boston Storm's woman.
Oh, it is.
They have
Oh,
women.
okay. Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then
Okay.
they just made a women's professional lacrosse league.
Oh, really? Anyway, the sad news that I have is, unfortunately, we're running out of time. The 28 minutes for this show has just kind of flown by,
Flew by, yeah.
as it always does. I've really enjoyed speaking to the four of you. You really made a great representation of the university and of the sport of lacrosse. I'm sure there's a lot of people out in Framingham TV land that now know a lot more about lacrosse than what they did before. And like me, I hope they'll take advantage of the opportunity to come up to the Maple Street fields and look for the big flashing sign, and on a Saturday afternoon when the temperature gets up to at least 65, and come on out and watch these young women play. As you can tell, it's going to be a lot of fun, and they're a great team, and they're 11-1, and you have well, how many games? You said.
I think
Seven.
Seven left?
Seven left.
Left. So I think you better hurry.
Yeah.
I know.
And if you're watching this show at the end of the season, come back next year because you're going to see Shae running around out there.
Finally.
So thanks for watching Framingham Fan to Fan on Access Framingham TV. Come back again and watch, and you'll see another great show and learn something about another sport maybe you didn't know much about. Bye.